Margaret Chen had been on her feet for 11 hours straight, and the diner was still packed. It was a Tuesday night in downtown Chicago, the kind of cold that seeped through window panes and made every customer grumble before they even sat down. Margaret moved between tables with the quiet efficiency of someone who had been doing this job for 22 years, someone who knew exactly how to balance 4 plates on one arm, how to smile at a rude comment without letting it reach her eyes, and how to make a tired traveler feel like they had finally come home. She was 53 years old. Her feet ached in ways she no longer mentioned to anyone, and she had exactly $47 in her savings account after paying her daughter's tuition installment that morning. None of this showed on her face. That was the thing about Margaret. She had mastered the art of carrying weight without letting it bend her. A young couple came in just after 9, stomping snow off their boots, and Margaret was there, immediately with menus and warm water and a smile that she meant. The man looked distracted, his coat expensive, his shoes the kind that cost more than Margaret made in a month. The woman with him looked tired in a different way, the kind of tired that comes from too many meetings and not enough air. Margaret noticed but said nothing. She brought them bread without being asked because she could see they were hungry, refilled the water before the glass was half empty, and when the woman mentioned offhandedly that she had a headache, Margaret quietly brought her 2 aspirin from her own purse without charging for them or making a moment of it. The man noticed. He said nothing, but he noticed. What Margaret did not know was that the man sitting across from her was Daniel Hargrove, the founder of Hargrove Capital, a company whose name appeared on 3 buildings within 2 miles of that diner. He was worth somewhere north of $4 billion, though you would not have known it from the way he ate his soup, carefully, quietly watching. He had a habit, one his late mother had given him, of eating in ordinary places and watching how people treated strangers when they thought no one of consequence was looking. He had seen waiters ignore elderly customers, seen cashiers speak with contempt to people who counted their change slowly, seen the small cruelties that people committed when they believed the audience did not matter. And then he had seen Margaret. He watched her stop at a corner table where an old man sat alone, a man who had ordered only coffee and sat nursing it for an hour. Another server had already muttered about him twice. Margaret sat down across from the old man for exactly 90 seconds, asked him something quietly, laughed at whatever he said, and then went back to work. The old man sat up straighter after that. His coffee was refilled 3 more times, and Margaret never once made him feel like a burden. Daniel put down his spoon. He said nothing to his colleague for a long moment. Near the end of the night, when the diner had thinned and Margaret brought their check, Daniel looked up at her and asked how long she had worked there. She told him. He asked if she liked it. She was quiet for a moment and then said something that stopped him completely. She said she liked the people. Not the job, not the pay, not the hours, the people. She said every person who walked through that door was carrying something, and sometimes all they needed was someone to notice them. Daniel nodded slowly. He paid the bill in cash and left. Margaret cleared the table a few minutes later and found an envelope under the bread plate. Inside was a handwritten note and a check. The note said, "I have spent 30 years looking for people who understand that dignity is something you give, not something you earn. You gave it tonight to everyone in this room without expecting a single thing in return. The world needs more of you. Please use this to rest your feet." The check was for $250,000. Margaret stood at that table for a long time, completely still, while the cook called her name twice from the kitchen. She was not crying exactly. She was recalibrating. Within 6 months, with Daniel's continued support and mentorship, Margaret had opened a small community diner of her own, a place where nobody was ever made to feel like their order was too small or their presence too inconvenient. She hired 3 women from her neighborhood who needed the same second chance. She had quietly been waiting for her whole life. She never forgot that it started on a Tuesday night when she chose to see people, and someone finally chose to see her. If this story moved you, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it today, and subscribe to Kindness Corner Stories. Because every day, we bring you stories that remind you what humanity looks like at its very best.